1973, the Royal Ordnance Factory, Leeds, West Yorkshire. A vehicle rolls off the production line that looks like nothing the British Army has ever fielded. It is low. It is compact. 4 wheels, not tracks. A sharp, angular turret sits high on an aluminium hull that weighs less than 7 tons fully loaded. Bolted to the turret is a 30mm cannon capable of destroying armoured personnel carriers at over 1,000 metres. Beneath the hull sits a Jaguar 4.2-litre petrol engine, the same power plant found in one of the most elegant sports cars in the world. On a flat road, this machine can reach 65 miles per hour. It can be loaded 3 at a time into a Hercules transport aircraft. 2 of them can be parachute dropped from altitude. It looks fast. It looks aggressive. It looks like it was designed by people who wanted to win a race, not fight a war. And that was the problem. Because for all its speed, for all its clever engineering, the Fox was too light to survive, too top-heavy to trust, too cramped to love, and too compromised to last. It would serve the British Army for barely 2 decades, equip only 3 nations, and be quietly withdrawn without a direct replacement. Its turrets would be stripped from their hulls and bolted onto a tracked chassis just to keep the guns in service. Its name would fade from regimental memory within a generation. Its designation was the FV721 Fox, Combat Vehicle Reconnaissance Wheeled, and it was the last purpose-built wheeled armoured car that Britain ever fielded. To understand why the Fox existed, you need to understand what it was supposed to replace and why. By the early 1960s, the British Army's reconnaissance fleet rested on 2 vehicles. The Daimler Ferret, a small beloved 4-wheeled scout car that had served since 1952, and the Alvis Saladin, a 6-wheeled armoured car armed with a 76mm gun that had entered service in 1958. Both were products of the late 1940s design philosophy. Both were showing their age against the threat posed by Warsaw Pact forces massed along the inner German border. The Ministry of Defence issued 2 parallel requirements. General Staff Requirement 3301 called for a new tracked reconnaissance vehicle, which would become the Scorpion family. The Combat Vehicle Reconnaissance Tracked. General Staff Requirement 3358 called for its wheeled counterpart, a fast, air-portable, 4-wheeled scout car with real firepower. That vehicle would become the Fox. The Fighting Vehicles Research and Development Establishment led the design. In 1966, Daimler of Coventry, the firm that had built the Ferret, received a contract for 15 prototypes. The first was completed in November 1967, the last rolled out in April 1969. Trials followed. The Fox was publicly announced in October 1969 and formally accepted for service in 1970. Then came the decision that ended a legacy. When the production contract went to competitive tender, Daimler, Alvis and Jaguar had all been absorbed into British Leyland. The Royal Ordnance Factory at Leeds, subsidised by ongoing Chieftain tank production, underbid Daimler on price. Leeds won the contract despite having no experience whatsoever with aluminium armour or wheeled armoured vehicles. Daimler's armoured vehicle business, which stretched back to the Second World War, ceased entirely in 1971. The Fox was the vehicle that killed it. The production delay cost nearly 2 years. Full manufacturing began in 1972, and the first production Fox was completed in May 1973. Turrets were built by Alvis at Coventry. The vehicle itself was a study in deliberate compromise. 3 crew members, a driver seated centrally in the hull, and a commander and gunner in the 2-man turret, operated in exceptionally tight quarters. The hull was welded from 7039 series aluminium alloy. Frontal armour was roughly 33.5mm of aluminium, with sides at around 41mm and the rear at 38. In steel equivalency, this stopped 7.62mm rifle fire and shell splinters. It did not stop heavy machine gun rounds. It did not stop anything designed to kill armoured vehicles. The main armament was the 30mm L21 RARDEN cannon, a weapon whose name derived from the Royal Armament Research and Development Establishment and the Royal Small Arms Factory at Enfield. Its principal designer was Norman Trevor Brint, a man who had originally trained as a carpenter before moving into gun design because, as one source recorded, there was no money in carpentry. The RARDEN was deliberately slow-firing, roughly 90 rounds per minute, fed by 3-round clips into a 6-round ready magazine. What it lacked in volume, it made up for in precision. Groups of 1 metre at 1,000 metres were achieved on a regular basis. 99 rounds of 30mm ammunition were carried, alongside 2,600 rounds of 7.62mm for the coaxial machine gun. A collapsible flotation screen was fitted around the hull, theoretically allowing the Fox to swim across rivers propelled by its wheels at roughly 5 km per hour. In practice, The capability was near useless. Most British vehicles had their screens removed early in service. The Fox also lacked any form of nuclear, biological and chemical protection, a serious deficiency for a vehicle expected to operate on a Cold War battlefield saturated with the threat of chemical warfare. Now, before we get into where the Fox actually served and why its crews grew to distrust it, if you are enjoying this deep dive into Cold War British armour, hit subscribe. It costs nothing, takes a second, and helps the channel grow. The Fox entered frontline service in 1975 with B Squadron, 1st Royal Tank Regiment, based at Aliwal Barracks, Tidworth. From there, it was distributed across the British Army of the Rhine, equipping the reconnaissance elements of the Royal Yeomanry and the Queen's Own Yeomanry, the Brigade Reconnaissance Regiments assigned to 2nd Division, the formation responsible for the rear area of the British sector in West Germany. A typical Fox squadron fielded 4 troops of 4 vehicles each. 2 additional Fox squadrons were stationed at Armoured in Northern Ireland for medium reconnaissance duties, but the Fox's greatest enemy was not the Soviet Union, it was physics. Within months of entering widespread service, a pattern of serious accidents emerged that threatened the vehicle's entire operational credibility. The Fox was dangerously top-heavy. Its high-mounted turret combined with a relatively narrow 4-wheeled base and a combat weight under 7 tons created a centre of gravity that punished aggressive driving. At speed, the Fox exhibited severe oversteer. Drivers who instinctively corrected found the vehicle snapping the other way. Rollovers occurred with alarming frequency in the early years. Unlike the Ferret, where the crew could brace and ride out a roll, the Fox's turret crew had no easy escape positions. A rolled Fox was a potentially fatal Fox. The Army's response was not to redesign the vehicle, it was to redesign the training. Specialised driver instruction was introduced that taught Fox crews to manage the oversteer rather than fight it. The accident rate declined, but the reputation never recovered. Crews who had known the Ferret, a forgiving, almost affectionate little vehicle that did what you asked without trying to kill you, found the Fox an entirely different proposition. One former Fox crewman, a veteran of the 1980s, described the experience in terms that became widely shared among reconnaissance soldiers. "Fox looks good," he said. "Very often sounds good. But when we wanted to have fun, it was a Ferret every time. Fox is hard work and no fun to crew." A former Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers Workshops fitter who serviced the vehicles recalled that they arrived from the factory with roughly 24 modifications still outstanding. Not a good sign, as he put it, since some of these things should have been sorted on trials. The same fitter described removing multiple engines with smashed cylinder blocks, where connecting rods had punched through the side of the casing. The Fox never saw major combat in British hands. It patrolled the inner German border. It watched for Soviet armour that never came. It sat in hides in the North German plain, its Jaguar engine ticking in the cold, its crew scanning the tree lines through a passive night sight. In Northern Ireland, it provided mobile reconnaissance in a theatre where its speed was useful, but its armour was irrelevant against the threat of improvised explosive devices and heavy-caliber sniper rifles. Abroad, the story was different but equally modest. Approximately 145 Foxes were exported. Nigeria received the largest share and, according to available records, still operated around 50 vehicles as recently as 2024. Malawi purchased 20 Foxes from Britain in 1981. And all were reported operational as of the same year. No confirmed accounts of Fox vehicles in sustained foreign combat have emerged in open-source records. Though Nigerian Foxes are likely to have seen internal security deployments, total production reached approximately 325 vehicles at Royal Ordnance Factory Leeds, 180 for Britain, 145 for export. For a vehicle intended to replace the Ferret, which had been built in numbers exceeding 4,000, the Fox was produced in almost negligible quantity. On paper, the Fox's rivals made it look outclassed. The French AMX-10RC, a 6x6 wheeled reconnaissance vehicle entering service in 1981, carried a 105mm gun capable of destroying main battle tanks. The Panhard ERC-90 Sagai mounted a 90mm cannon firing armour-piercing, fin-stabilised discarding sabot rounds. Both were heavier, both were far more powerfully armed, and both could fight the vehicles they were sent to find. The Soviet BRDM-2, the Fox's most direct conceptual counterpart, took the opposite approach. It carried only a 14.5mm heavy machine gun, far less firepower than the Fox's 30mm cannon. But it was fully amphibious with water-jet propulsion, carried nuclear, biological and chemical protection as standard, and was produced in quantities exceeding 7,200 vehicles. The Fox could kill a BRDM-2, but the Soviets could afford to lose them. The Fox's own stablemate proved to be its most damaging competitor. The Scimitar, the tracked member of the Combat Vehicle Reconnaissance family, carried the same RARDEN cannon the same Jaguar engine, and offered superior cross-country mobility on a tracked platform with a lower centre of gravity. The Scimitar went to the Falklands in 1982, the Scimitar went to the Gulf in 1991, the Fox went to neither. When commanders needed reconnaissance vehicles for real operations, they chose tracks over wheels every time. The Fox was withdrawn from British service between 1993 and 1994. No wheeled replacement was procured, its role was absorbed by the Scimitar. But 136 Fox turrets were given a second life. In 1995, they were mated to FV721 Scorpion hulls to create the Sabre, a hybrid reconnaissance vehicle that served armoured and mechanised infantry battalions. Until 2004, the Fox's gun outlived its body by a decade. Today, preserved Foxes survive in small numbers. The Tank Museum at Bovington holds the FV722 Vixen prototype, an unarmed liaison variant that never entered production. Eden Camp Modern History Museum in North Yorkshire maintains a running Daimler-built prototype, the 9th of the original 15, affectionately known as Lily. The Norfolk Tank Museum holds another. A handful exist in private collections across Britain, the United States and Australia. 1973, the Royal Ordnance Factory, Leeds. A vehicle rolls off the line that is faster than almost anything else on 4 wheels in any army in the world. It carries a cannon accurate enough to place every round inside a 1-metre circle at 1,000 metres. It is light enough to fly, small enough to hide, and quick enough to outrun almost anything it cannot outfight. It is also too top-heavy to corner safely, too thinly armoured to survive the battlefield it was designed for, too cramped for its crews to operate in comfort, too fragile to deploy to the wars that actually came. It has no nuclear, biological or chemical protection, no stabilised gunnery, no room to grow, and yet it served. It watched the inner German border for nearly 20 years. It patrolled the streets of Northern Ireland. It equipped armies in West Africa that are still operating it more than 4 decades after delivery. Its cannon went on to arm the Warrior infantry fighting vehicle, the Scimitar and the Sabre, with total RARDEN production exceeding 1,600 guns. The Fox was not a failure, it was a lesson. Britain learned that in reconnaissance, the vehicle that survives to report is worth more than the vehicle that arrives first. Speed without protection is a promise the battlefield does not honour. The Fox was the fastest armoured car Britain ever built. It was also the last. That is not a coincidence.